Artificial intelligence was supposed to make us smarter. That was the pitch. A world where machines handled the dull work so we could be free to think, create, and grow. But that's not what happened. Instead, we got autocomplete for our thoughts, smart replies for our relationships, algorithms that tell us what to want before we even know we want it. And now, without realizing it, we're slowly forgetting how to think at all. This is fog of work. And in this video, we're not just talking about technology, we're talking about a cognitive collapse, a slow, quiet decay of human thought disguised as progress. You won't see headlines about it, but you'll feel it every time you reach for a shortcut and can't quite remember how to do it yourself. And what's coming next is worse, because this isn't just a glitch, it's the perfect setup for a world where critical thinking becomes a threat and compliance becomes the norm. It starts small. A smart reply here, a grammar suggestion there, a chatbot to help you write that uncomfortable email, a video summary so you don't have to watch the whole thing. It's convenient, it's helpful, it saves you time until you realize you've stopped writing your own thoughts. You don't brainstorm anymore. You prompt. You don't read the article. You skim the AI summary. You don't explore. You ask. And whatever answer it gives, that becomes your truth. The trap isn't the technology. It's the quiet agreement. I'll give up a piece of my brain if it saves me a few seconds. Over time, you give up more and more until the muscle atrophies. You didn't mean to stop thinking, you just forgot how. Critical thinking isn't just a skill, it's a process, a habit of mind, a way of struggling through ambiguity, weighing information, challenging assumptions, and choosing your own path. But AI doesn't ask you to struggle, it gives you answers. Students use AI to write essays they never understood. Professionals use it to generate strategies they never analyzed. Creators use it to write stories they never imagined. You don't have to think critically when the tool does it for you. You just have to accept its answer. And when that becomes the habit, the process dies. The scariest part. You don't notice the loss right away. You still feel productive, you still look busy, but inside, you're becoming hollow, more reactive, less reflective. The mind isn't built to outsource thought, it's built to engage with it, and when it stops engaging, it begins to decay. There's a reason AI tools feel so good. They're fast, they're easy, they reward you instantly. Need a headline? Done. Need a to-do list? Here you go. Need a script, a slogan, a solution? It's all ready before you finish typing. Every time you use it, your brain gets a hit of reward, a little dopamine burst. You feel efficient, clever, ahead of the curve. But there's a cost. Your brain starts to crave the shortcut. The friction of thinking becomes unbearable. The discomfort of confusion feels wrong. You lose patience for the process and tolerance for anything that takes effort. This isn't empowerment, it's conditioning. We're becoming addicted to thoughtless results, addicted to being right without understanding why. And once that loop sets in, it's hard to escape. Why wrestle with a hard idea when you can just ask the machine? There's a dangerous difference between those who remember the before times and those who don't. Millennials and older Gen Zs grew up learning to think before the AI flood. They still remember how to struggle through research, how to write without autocomplete, how to form an opinion without a prompt. But Gen Alpha? They're growing up in a world where AI is their first teacher, their first search engine, their first tutor, their first friend. And that changes everything. If the first time you encounter a hard question, a bot answers it for you, you never build the muscle of figuring it out. You never learn to wrestle with complexity. You don't even know what that discomfort feels like. And if you never build that skill, you don't get it back. You become a dependent mind, capable of asking, but never of answering. The next generation won't lose critical thinking. They'll never develop it in the first place. Look around. AI isn't just writing emails and code, it's writing wedding vows, apology messages, job applications, dating profiles, love notes, social media replies, resignation letters, condolences. It's not helping us communicate, it's replacing our communication entirely. The words we once agonized over are now one-click prompts. The thoughts we once crafted are now templated responses. We're outsourcing not just knowledge, but emotion, nuance, and connection. And here's the worst part. We think it's brilliant. We laugh at how accurate the AI reply was. We marvel at how good the AI-generated resume sounds. We celebrate not having to think, not realizing what that celebration means. We are becoming a species that sees its own cognitive laziness as innovation, that praises tools for making us obsolete and calls it progress. Go into any classroom today and you'll hear the same story. Students aren't doing the work. They're using AI. Essays written in seconds, assignments submitted without thought, questions asked not to understand, but to complete. Learning becomes a box to check, not a journey to explore. Teachers know, administrators know, even students know, but the system pretends. The curriculum doesn't change, the testing doesn't evolve, the standards don't shift. And so education becomes a theater, a performance where no one is learning, but everyone is passing. AI isn't cheating the system, it is the system now. And it's accelerating its collapse. We're not teaching the next generation how to think. We're teaching them how to simulate understanding, long enough to get by. But what happens when getting by isn't enough? Let's not pretend this is an accident. Corporations don't benefit from smart workers who ask questions, challenge norms, and think for themselves. They benefit from passive ones, programmable ones, ones who can't remember a world without prompts. Critical thinking is a threat to systems built on compliance. And so the smarter the AI gets, the dumber we're encouraged to become, not by force, but by design. By making it easier to not think. By rewarding obedience with convenience. The ideal worker of the future isn't creative, isn't analytical, isn't driven. They're responsive, they're dependent. They ask the bot for help and do what it says. The machine isn't replacing you, it's rewriting you. If this is hitting close to home, pause for a second. Think about the last time you solved a real problem without a screen. The last time you wrote something without a prompt. The last time you learned something the hard way. If you can't remember, you're not alone. That's why fog of work exists, to pull back the curtain on a system that's hollowing us out while smiling to our faces. If you're starting to see it too, hit like, subscribe, stick around. Because what comes next is even darker. This isn't just about technology. It's about power. Because the more passive we become, the more control shifts into the hands of those who never stopped thinking, just stopped sharing. The new lords of society aren't kings or politicians. Yeah, they're corporate executives, tech billionaires, platform owners, and they're not using swords or laws to rule. They're using algorithms, convenience, dependence. You don't need shackles when people are too distracted to move. You don't need prisons when people willingly surrender their minds for a discount code and a dopamine hit. You don't need force when they think the cage is a feature, not a bug. This is how digital feudalism begins, not with rebellion, but with resignation. Artificial intelligence doesn't just do what you tell it, it tells you what to do. It suggests your next purchase, your next show, your next opinion. It nudges your thinking by narrowing your choices. It slowly rewrites your preferences, not by command, but by subtle repetition. The more we ask AI for shortcuts, the more we rely on it in every little thing. What to eat, what to watch, what to say. Eventually, we stop knowing what we want. We start asking what we should want, and whatever it gives us becomes the truth we follow. We lose the boundary between suggestion and control, between what we choose and what we've been told to choose. If you never make a decision yourself, who are you, really? It's not just your work that's being automated, it's you. Bios are AI generated. Dating profiles are AI polished. Emails, replies, greetings, condolences, all crafted by language models. Even your authentic voice online is often just a cleaned up prompt result. We are outsourcing not only our thoughts, but our personalities. The little quirks, imperfections, and emotional inconsistencies that made us human are being scrubbed away, replaced by optimized, brand-safe versions of ourselves, symmetrical, digestible, synthetic. What happens when your digital identity becomes more AI than you? When your resume, your writing, your opinions were all stitched together by systems you barely understand, you begin to fade, bit by bit, until you're nothing but a user profile on someone else's platform. Once upon a time, adults learned how to handle discomfort, how to cook a meal, learn a skill, navigate uncertainty. Now, why bother? Artificial intelligence tells you what to eat. It plans your week. It schedules your tasks. It reads for you, writes for you, explains for you, even grieves for you. And it feels so good. You don't have to figure anything out. You just ask. But when no one knows how to struggle anymore, no one knows how to grow. We are becoming a society of adult-sized children, unable to cope with effort, allergic to uncertainty, paralyzed without constant guidance. And an infantilized society cannot resist. It cannot question. It cannot think. It can only obey. Ignorance isn't just a byproduct of AI brain rot. It's the point. The fewer questions you ask, the easier you are to manage. The less you understand, the more you consume. The less you remember, the more you repeat. That's the real danger. Not that AI is smarter than us, but that we're being trained to stop using the intelligence we have. Digital feudalism doesn't need rebels. It needs renters, scrollers, subscribers, people who feel smart while getting dumber, people who think they're in control while being gently nudged into obedience. And so, education fades. Libraries empty. Skills vanish. The peasantry doesn't need to know anything. It just needs to believe it's fine, that the glow of a screen is enough, that curiosity is optional, that the future is taken care of so long as you don't ask questions. They told us artificial intelligence would empower us, that it would give creators more tools, more freedom, more potential. But most of what it gives us isn't creation. It's automation. It's generating variations, not vision. Mimicking style, not meaning. Predicting words, not discovering ideas. Real creativity is slow, messy, frustrating. It requires confusion, trial and error, rejection, failure, growth. Artificial intelligence skips all that. It gives you content in seconds. But it's hollow, polished, derivative. We're not making more art. We're making more noise because corporations don't want creators. They want content machines. They want volume, speed, trend-chasing output that can be monetized. And if you burn out trying to keep up with the algorithm, they'll replace you with one that doesn't. In 2006, Idiocracy was a comedy. A dystopian joke about a world so dumbed down that plants were watered with sports drinks and doctors gave diagnoses like fast food orders. It felt absurd, unthinkable. But now, that absurdity feels familiar. People who don't read, who can't speak in full sentences, who confuse algorithms for authority, who follow trends without understanding where they lead, who mistake convenience for truth. We are sleepwalking into the punchline. This isn't the future. This is the present. It just has better lighting and faster Wi-Fi. We were warned, and we laughed, but we didn't listen. And now, we're living in the prophecy. Let's be clear, artificial intelligence didn't dumb us down. We did that ourselves. We chose the shortcut. We embraced the quick fix. We begged for tools that made us feel smart without having to be. The collapse of human thought isn't being forced on us. It's being accepted by us, welcomed, celebrated. We gave away our minds piece by piece. And now we wonder why we feel hollow. The danger isn't that artificial intelligence will take over. It's that no one will remember how to lead or think or care. We're not being replaced. We're being erased by our own silence. This is what the slow collapse looks like. Not fire, not violence, but numbness, passive decline, a quiet surrender. You wake up one day and realize you haven't had a single original thought in weeks, that every decision was prompted, every sentence assisted, every idea second-guessed by something smarter. You didn't notice the rot, because it didn't hurt. It just made things easier. But here's the truth. Your mind is the last thing you still own, and if you don't fight to keep it, someone else will gladly take it. This is fog of work. Subscribe if you're starting to feel what they've tried so hard to hide, and tell me in the comments, when was the last time you solved a problem without asking Google or AI? Do you even remember? I always read every comment, and I still think for myself. Do you?